Beethoven and I would like to talk to you a little bit more about the saxophone used in pop music. Actually, Beethoven never wrote for the saxophone, so he's not going to be much help at all. But I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the saxophone in pop music. So we talked before about jazz, we talked about rock and the different ways that the saxophone is used in those. Now, let's get a little bit off the beaten path. We'll start with They Might Be Giants. They Might Be Giants is very, very inventive in terms of the instruments they use and all those kinds of things. So, if I want to find an example of how is a bass clarinet used in music, I can usually find something from They Might Be Giants. But we're going to listen to a song called Spy, and it kind of harkens back to the kind of surf music of the 60s. And what you'll hear is a bass starts the song, and then you'll hear the saxophones doubling that bass. And then, throughout the thing, it just uses the saxophone in a real traditional kind of, surf rock kind of sound. Let's take a listen. Next, saxophone in punk music. What? Yes, it's true. There was a song in the 80s by a group called Fear called New York Is All Right If You Like Saxophones. And it's just great because it starts with a verse and then where it's supposed to lead up to a chorus, it just has a saxophone just going nuts. So take a listen to how fun this is and how much energy the saxophone brings to this particular song. And completely unlike the first two, the next one is actually an example of classical saxophone. So most people only think of the saxophone in terms of pop music, but it's actually quite a beautiful sound. I remember when I was in college walking by a practice room and I heard this beautiful sound and I thought it was a string quartet. I looked in and it was actually a saxophone quartet. The saxophone has just such a rich tone that when it's played with a lot of control, a saxophone quartet can sound really, really beautiful. So listen to this. This is actually a Beethoven string quartet that's reworked for saxophones. Opus 18, number 1, movement number 1. So you can see that the saxophone is a very flexible instrument, and it can go from just the most beautiful dulcet tones to just this kind of unhinged kind of squawking. And that's one of the beauties of the saxophone. I hope you will come to hear the saxophones of the Beer City Saxes on Friday night, November 8th at 7 p.m. at the Stray. St. Singer Orchestra, Beer City Saxes will be putting on a concert that we have dubbed Sax and Violins. I hope to see you there.